Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. My name is Abe Hunter, and I'm the founder of the Elite Society. And today we have an outlaw. We have an outlaw in town, Mr. Sidney Outlaw. Hi,
That's
Sid.
me all day, every day. Yes.
I got that just for you.
I love it.
Uh, Sid, would you be so kind as to introduce our other guests?
Absolutely. I am so excited to introduce some of my students from the Aaron Copland School of Music. And this has been a big year for them with COVID and virtual learning. And I thought, well, this would be a good chance for them to practice their public speaking um, voices and do some of them, many of them, their first interview like this. So I decided to bring Pablo Hidalgo.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. My name is Pablo Giraldo, and it is a privilege and an honor to be here amongst you.
And then Eric Rasmussen.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in tonight. My name is Eric Rasmussen and I'm a second year master's degree student.
Absolutely. Pablo, what year are you?
I am supposed to be a senior.
Okay, listen, and we'll stop right there. Boom. Hello, Michael Kramer down at the bottom right there.
Hello, my name is Michael Kramer. I am also a tenor, and I am finishing up my last semester at the Aaron Copland School of Music as a second bachelor's student in vocal performance.
Then there's Scott Lavarga.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited. Nervous. I'm like on the verge of going to the bathroom. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm also a tenor, and yeah, I go to Aaron Copland School of Music and all that jazz, and it's fun.
Scott, if it's any comfort to you, I'm always on the verge of going to the bathroom.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
here's why I just went before we went live.
Absolutely. Welcome to my life, Abe. Welcome to my life. Your lesson starts at 11. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom. Okay. Go ahead and go. And there's Miss Taylor. We call her Tay Tay. I do.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Burgess. I'm a soprano, and I am graduating this semester with my performer certificate from the Aaron Copland School.
Absolutely. And there is a blank window down here that Karen McVoy will probably pop in a minute. And she is a professional studies major as well, and she's graduating this semester as well.
Well, what an amazing brood you have. And students, what is it like to study with Mr. Outlaw?
Oh God, watch them roll their eyes.
Not
How
all at
honest
once.
can
Oh
we be?
God, look at the faces.
How honest do you want us to be?
This I can edit this out in post. So
It's
Well,
fun.
oh, go ahead,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. No, it's fun. It's truly great to work with someone who is not only knowledgeable but in the industry and is kind of not only taking it by force but holding your hand through this journey. So it's so nice to um yeah, just have someone that is going through it as we are going through it and has been through it before. So it's truly an honor
And
to
not
work.
only that, but a professor who holds you accountable to a very high degree of standard, because he is very well aware that in the real world that standard is the norm. At no point in time in my time as his student has he ever let me off the hook for any error on my part, because he knows that we need to be at a certain level in order to make the most of ourselves.
exactly.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, well, Taylor, he holds your hand. No, I don't know,
Ah!
because when I first started working with him, he was like, "Okay, they got this and this and this." No,
Okay,
no,
the
but
hand gets
really,
held after.
no, but to be honest, Sydney has been exactly the teacher I needed at the current stage that I met him at 2 years ago before I started my master's. Like I did my undergrad and I had 2 gap years afterwards, and I was really trying to find a grad school to study at. I had done 2 years of the audition circuit, at all kinds of places all over the country, and it was really when I met Sid that I was like, okay, this is the fit of the teacher that I need right now. And lo and behold, it was exactly that.
Fabulous.
Shenanigans.
And you have fun. Seems like you would be a fun teacher.
I don't know, Scott. Am I fun?
Sydney is just a fun person, and I think lessons.
Pretty bitchy at times.
But all in all, so if you ever are on Steinway and Ditmore's, you got to go and see Olivia this Sunday. And she said something very profound. That you got to have people in your life who tolerate you and support you. He's not a BSer in any way. There's a lot of funky stuff in this industry, but he allows you to grow. That's the most important thing. It's like allowing you.
Yes.
You are the. We want to make you a better artist. It's not one formula, one shoe fits.
And Sid is definitely not a yes man. Like he really is out. He is our biggest advocate, each and every single one of us personally, but he's not a yes man. Don't you get those confused.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Nope. In fact, I am usually a no person. Like, nah.
You'll say no, but you won't take no for an answer. So
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you know that, Taylor. I love that you know that on the horizon of your graduation. I will say no, but I won't take no for an answer.
Now,
I see Karen.
You guys realize that Sidney is my youngest son's godfather. And, and if I come not prepared, I should be prepared to have my feelings hurt. And I remember saying to him, you hurt my feelings. And he's like, yes. Next time.
It's
Godfather.
You feel like I hurt your feelings. All I did was call you out for not being prepared. And that's a conversation that we all have been having, in the industry now we had it when I was growing up, I would never go to a lesson with Warren or a lesson with Miss Horn or someone and not be prepared. Did I ever do that?
No, it was not unprepared. You did not like the color in which I was singing. And
because
you referred...
she was not fully warmed up, Abe.
Oh, that's... I know, you are getting the tea, my friend.
Yes, indeed.
Abe, you have become part of the family now. We shared secrets.
Exactly. I told you, shenanigans. Exactly. And all I asked Karen was, if Henry Lewis had hired you to come and sing at the Metropolitan Opera, would you have walked into Henry Lewis's rehearsal with the orchestra and not have been warmed up? See? Okay.
Welcome to the Lead Society Roundtable.
I need these sound effects for you all's lessons. Yes, absolutely.
Now,
They're my babies and I love them all.
I can tell. And I want to talk about just briefly, you mentioned a discussion you've been having with your students about repertoire and context. Can you talk about what that means?
Yeah, what's that? What did Nina Simone say? Can somebody tell me?
An artist's duty is to reflect the times.
Indeed. And so we've always strived to do that in my studio. This isn't something new. So a lot of people are like, oh, we're doing this and we're doing that. And a lot of times we're like, yeah, if you would like to collaborate, let us know, or, let's do something, because we've been doing this since the 12th of never, and so we just continued on that path and leaned into it a little bit more. And so with doing that, the idea of providing context, and that sparked interest in, where do spirituals come from? Well, the first spiritual was first documented as early as 1835, and coming down through, and the Civil War and Reconstruction. 1890, and we have 1870 in Reconstruction, when Black people were able to go to schools that were founded by the government through land grants, and they created HBCUs, and they started to develop their own style using what they learned in the church, which is what I consider the epicenter of Black culture. Did I say that right? Is that a word? Did I make that word an epicenter? Oh, no. Okay, great. Whew. I don't want Dr. Forbes to make fun of me next week.
We will be quoted. That's really good, Sweets.
It's the epicenter of Black culture, and so you start to look at where music originated in the church, the Black church, and how that expanded into art song. And we've just been really looking into that as a group. And they talk to each other. They talk to each other, and Taylor's working on Dorothy Rudd Moore right now. Karen's working on Florence Price. Eric did Adolphus Hailstork. My God, that was such a hard cycle.
It's so hard. He's an incredible composer. It is so hard, but you feel like you have changed the world by the time you finish doing an Adolphus Hailstork piece.
Absolutely.
Like, if no other life was changed, mine was.
It was phenomenal, and so we've been really looking into that, and looking at all genres of composers: women, gay, transgender, Latinx, everyone. Did I say everyone? Did I get everyone? We've been looking into everyone and figuring out the context. And a lot of times we do it through the text. A lot of times we do it through the history of how they came to America as immigrants. And so it's been an interesting ride. I've learned a lot.
So how has this conversation informed your respective programming decisions for these recitals?
Is that to me or to them?
To whoever would like to answer.
Yeah, well, I would like to take the first bite at it.
Get it, baby.
You go.
So this was my first recital, bar none, ever. And one of the things that Sidney brought up is that while I was performing it, he told me that the selection I'd chosen did not have my identity as a part of it, because it was a lot of composers from the Romantic period, from the European composers, and the late, like the beginnings of the Impressionist period with Vaughan Williams. But I am not a European white male. I hail from Latin America. And you made an impetus that I needed to find a composer that I could connect to, and because it's not enough to just understand the pieces and sing them. You need to be able to connect to them on a personal level, not just what the music says, but the context that the music's come from. And fortunately, I was able to find a composer not just of Latin American descent, but from my own home country. And it is those three pieces were the pieces I was most proud of my entire set, because it wasn't just me singing my first recital. I felt like I was taking on the mantle of every Latin American performer that has come before me. I actually cried at the end of those three pieces, partially because my first recital was absolutely a marathon, but because I was able to stand there and I said, here I am singing in the language I was born in, and I think I did an okay job. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to someone else.
Well,
yeah, I love that you said specifically about the personal connection to the music. That it's so important. Because if this music doesn't affect and inspire you, then how are you supposed to do your job on stage? And that was one of the big reasons why I specifically chose the Hailstork to close up my recital, the Songs of Love and Justice. And because I had been spending the whole year
Okay.
exploring numerous Black
Welcome to my-
composers. I was doing some rep by Harry Burleigh, I was doing some Leslie Adams, and then I picked up the Hailstork along the way, you know, and I was really unsure of what I was going to program to end the recital and everything. And then January 6th happened. We all know what happened on January 6th, okay? And for me, it came right at a moment immediately after I had first heard this song cycle. And then I was like, I'm doing it. That's it. This is the piece. Because Hailstork wrote that almost over 20 years ago now at this point, in 1999, published in 2000, if I remember that correctly. And, you know, 20 years later, it's even more powerful and relevant today. It uses texts from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. from his 1963 speeches in the Civil Rights Movement. And there were hundreds, thousands of years of oppression leading up before that. And today, in 2021, we're still fighting the same fights.
And interesting that it took us this long to start singing this music.
Yeah.
In a more general sense. Pablo, I just have to say, Carlos Arcos said beautifully said.
He is another one of my students. I don't know. Ask Carlos where he is.
Carlos, where in the hell are you?
Where are you?
He's supposed to be here?
He's supposed to be here. Absolutely. He's probably at Serendipity eating like the ice cream sundaes or something. That's Carlos.
There's always one child. You have one child.
He out in these streets, but he is a beautiful singer, smart off the charts. And he's also graduating this year and got into every grad school that he wanted to as well. And I'm super proud of him too.
Congratulations to Carlos.
Carlos, come on. Come to the room.
Somebody forward him the link. We'll let him in.
Absolutely. Michael, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, this year has been really challenging for me as an artist because as you know, Sidney, I got an offer to perform Monositos in the Magic Flute in a program in Germany, and I initially accepted without thinking about it. And then when I started doing the role study and I learned the role and I started kind of looking deeper into, the text, if it's interpreted in a modern day text, it's racist. He says, ist ein Schwarzer hässlich ist, like, am I a black man ugly, and it really kind of disturbed me when I really started taking it apart. And that taught me a couple lessons. It taught me, don't accept something right off the bat, because it might not always be, it might look good, but I need to make sure that I know what I'm singing before I get up and put myself out there. So with the help of Sidney and some of his colleagues and mine as well, African-American opera singers, like the baritone Thomas Cannon I spoke to, and
I love Tom. Hi.
And the tenor Martin Bakari, who I actually studied with for a while as well. I talked to them because I was just like, my white privilege is showing. I haven't thought about this as much as I need to, and that really made me start thinking, okay, how am I reflecting these times if all of this stuff is going on? And I'm singing, like what Pablo was saying, I'm singing early late romantic art song. How am I gonna get up there, present a recital without some representation of, first of all, issues that I hold dear to my heart, but also things that are really important that are happening. That was also the height of the Black Lives Matter protests in the summer.
Last summer.
And I was flabbergasted. So partly because of that, and partly with Sidney's very, very patient guiding hand. He introduced me to a set of songs, a set of 4 songs by Henry Burleigh, called Passional, originally written for the tenor John McCormick. And I listened to them when he sent me them, and there's not very many recordings out there of them, because they're not his music. His art song specifically isn't as performed as it really should be, because it's gorgeous music, but people tend to think of spiritual arrangements when they think of Burleigh. But he has a huge selection of art songs that he wrote, and they're gorgeous. So I fell in love with them immediately, but I was pretty intimidated because they're not the easiest pieces, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And Sydney's like, "Learn the first one, like, see how you're feeling, we'll see what happens." I learned the first one and I didn't stop. I just learned all of them really quickly in a really short amount of time, and that's actually I would say that's probably like the entree of the second half of my recital that I'm presenting on May 13th. And they're love poems by James W. Johnson, I believe, and it's gorgeous American music from an African American composer who I can't imagine that if a white composer of his time wrote those pieces, that those wouldn't be part of the canon, because they're gorgeous. They're just not performed, and it's really, really sad. So that's really all, because we were talking about programming, and then I just wanted to kind of.
Well, Michael, I just I'm so impressed with how thoughtful your how much thought you've put into your programming and your choices, and how much really, I mean, I live in Minneapolis, and with the murder of George Floyd, I don't think Mr. Floyd had any idea that he'd be affecting your recital choices indirectly.
No, absolutely.
But it's amazing to see that people are hearing and feeling and receptive to this change, and I just applaud you. That's amazing.
I too am actually working on some heavy pieces in my
hard.
recital.
They're hard. I was getting ready to get my water, but she was going to say they're complicated. No, they're hard. They're hard. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah.
Tell them about it.
My song cycle by Dorothy Rudd Moore, Sonnets on Love, Rosebuds, and Death. And my goodness, is it about all three?
So it's a real light showstopper.
Something light. It's about 20 to 25 minutes long, and it's about 8 pieces. And I remember when I first began learning these pieces, I was like, okay, I don't know what any of this means, but cool, we're just gonna go with it. And it wasn't until I'd say pretty recently I just had an epiphany, and the whole storyline of this piece came together, and I was like, oh my gosh, not only does this make sense, but like it just hits home so deep, because it's definitely it's a series of different poets, and they're all Harlem Renaissance African American poets, and it, in my opinion, even though there are male poets, I believe that this is fully from a woman's perspective. I think every movement it just has this like feminine quality to it that really just is brought to life through her music, and it's just unlike anything I've ever heard before. I really appreciate it, and I feel like I learned so much. Even, I mean, clearly I'm African American, but I learned even more about the Black experience through these sonnets, because this is other people's words, and clearly if I can connect to them, this is something that has been going on for hundreds of years. So it's just really beautiful to be able to understand that work and bring it to the public, because similar to Harry Burleigh, there really aren't many recordings of her music. So it's exciting.
Okay, everyone, we have somebody bulldozing their way into this meeting.
Oh, look who showed up.
Look who decided to roll in.
Well,
Oh my God.
Fashionably late as always.
Well, our studio audience went wild for you. They don't even know who you are. Only by reputation.
Looky. I told you. And this is typical.
Well, Carlos, would you be so kind as to introduce yourself? That we did introductions about a half hour ago, but that's okay.
Well, thank you for having me, Abe. The Lead Society and Sidney, thank you for inviting me too, and it's so great to see all my colleagues. I'm Carlos Arcos. I was born and raised in Ecuador, in the city of Guayaquil. I moved to New York City, Queens when I was 15, and this is home to me now as well. I'm a baritone. I'm a student of Sidney Outlaw, who I simply adore, love, admire, and I cannot have enough of you, Sidney.
I've been his teacher. Carlos, how old were you when you came into 327?
Oh, wow.
Were you 17 or 18?
Around that age.
Yep. He was 17 or 18 years old when I started teaching him.
Amazing.
And now he's getting ready to go to the big leagues.
I can't believe I'm in the Lead Society. Abe, I listen to your podcasts regularly.
Oh, you do not.
I am honored. Thank you.
Well, I'm just thank you for taking time to carving time out of your schedule to join us.
It's a pleasure.
Carlos, Tarita just said to tell you hello.
Oh, Aunt Tarita.
Okay, she said tell Carlos I said hi. He met one of my CrossFit friends, one of my best friends at Carnegie Hall. I don't know what I was singing there, but the Oratorio Society took us out to eat afterwards. And so Carlos and another student came along, and Tarita was with me. And so he and Tarita kicked it off at some fancy restaurant that we were at. And he was so inspired by her hyping him up all night. So she said to tell you, hey.
I miss you, Aunt Tarita. Hi.
That's hilarious.
So, Carlos, are you preparing a recital?
My first recital at the age of 24, and I am very excited. I was listening to my colleagues talk about their recitals. I'm doing a cycle by Margaret Bonds, 3 Dream Portraits.
Oh, I love those.
It's wow. I mean, one just can't help but to be moved by the music. The music sings itself. It really does. And I'm also doing a few pieces by Carlos Guastavino, Pampamapa, Se Equivocó la Paloma, and Pueblito Mi Pueblo. And I'm ending my recital with Pueblito Mi Pueblo, which is my town, my little town. And it reminds me of Guayaquil when I sing it here in Queens. Just brings me back to my hometown in Ecuador.
And I love that they are connecting to their pieces to the idea of where they're from. Like, he will sing them in a different way because of that.
Absolutely.
And that's all I wanted. I wanted them to find a way to connect and to be able to use the music to be encouraged and to encourage someone else.
It's not singing repertoire for the sake of singing repertoire or fulfilling the requirements.
The English language requirement.
Exactly.
I believe it was Dr. Dweck who enlightened me to this method of performing where we happened to be coaching this is well before COVID. This was one of my earliest coachings with Dr. Dweck. And I was singing a quilter art song, and she asked me, what do I think when I sing that phrase? I can't think of what the song was. And I gave her, like, I was thinking, just a very neutral, I'm a student trying to impress my teacher response, something along the lines of, I was thinking of turning over my voice while maintaining the momentum. And she said, no. What do you think? Like, what thoughts are going to your head? What she was pointing out to me is that while you're singing something, there has to be some sort of narrative that you are constructing with the performance, combined with the actual act of singing. And sometimes that narrative comes from your connection to the piece. And of course, she made me sing it again, and she told me that when I had sung that little measure, which was just a sustained note, to be completely honest, I was thinking of something, a personal experience which related to the art song, because she told me that it's the best I'd ever done it, because I had a connection with the piece through the memory I was recalling.
Dr. Dewick has been a blessing to our studio. A major blessing. You talk about the roots under the tree. Tyler Perry talks about the roots under the tree. And you can have this humongous tree with all of these limbs and this beautiful foliage, and you have a few roots under the tree. And there are a few roots that have been under my tree, like my family, and my cousin just actually played a track for one of my students for their jury, and yeah, and so you have those roots under the tree, and those roots are Dr. Dewick and Reed Woodhouse and Corradina and Thomas Grubb and Pierre Vallet. You have these roots under the tree, and it does take a village. I mean, it really takes a village, and so I'm super grateful.
I love that analogy that you made about plants, because I love my plants. I got 40 of them in my room over here. But literally, like, as a plant dad myself, that analogy just, it rings so much with me, because in my experience with them, they have to grow their roots before they grow all the beautiful foliage. And the same thing goes with us and our voices and our artistry and everything else. We are laying down this foundation. We're digging the roots, we're planting them in deeper, we're letting them grab onto the soil inside the pot, whatever they're growing in, and then all the beautiful new growth will start to shoot out.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's because of Sid's leadership. He really is old school, and I'm old school. He's an old school teacher. It's what do you expect? What's expected of you when you come into his studio? How are you expected to work? And the fact is, even if you're not given what you should have by Sally and John and Miss Q, you need to go and find what you need to make a difference.
You better.
You need to work on your languages. If you don't get it from
whoever
where you are right now, I just found this amazing thing on YouTube, this French guy, and I had just Googled something, and his French was pristine. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting here in my living room in Chicago, Illinois, and, Sid is teaching lessons. I can certainly work on my French. But this man right here has given all these young people and myself the opportunity to connect with coaches and linguists that will put them where they really need to be.
I think
it doesn't even matter what you think you're doing. The truth lies over the bridge.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the silver linings of the pandemic, is that that suddenly there's resources abound. And I consider humbly the round table to be one of them, because we've had some of the world's greatest and musicians and stage directors and up and coming people that sharing their ideas and innovations that normally wouldn't have the time of day to talk to somebody like me who plays sound effects.
Yes, which we love. You gotta listen, you gotta show me how to do that. That's gonna be in all your lessons this week.
I was thinking that same thing. Because then you can press the button and we wouldn't have to have the conversation. Just press the button.
You know, I honestly I think that the pandemic has been it's been so bad, but so good in so many ways. And that it's terrible, but a great thing. What's great about it is that the only way that you can make, well, I'm speaking generally, I think for me that the only way that I can make great work is when I'm completely focused. And focus is a difficult thing to define. But I was watching on the bowels of YouTube, of course, at like 3, 4 in the morning, some stupid video of one of these old Apple execs. And he was saying, focus, Steve Jobs told him that focus is when you have a really great idea, but you're working on another great idea, and you have the ability to put it aside until you finish that one thing that you already started. Having a lot of focus is like discipline. It's like, wow, I could actually calculate the radius of Jupiter, but I need to finish learning this song cycle. It's very important, and you don't really get that time. And the only way that we've gotten that time is because of the pandemic. And you get to learn about yourself and internalize things, and what is your purpose of intent. There's so many young singers out there who are trying to just like get into the business really quickly and have a definitive purpose of intent. And you look on their websites and all this stuff, and it's all great, but we're just young. We're too young to know definitively what we want. You need to have an idea of what you're trying to make. I'm trying to learn. I'm putting together a Turina's Poemas en Forma de Canciones. I'm going to be recording that pretty soon. But does that mean that I am a Spanish singer? I like Spanish rap. It's this time that we can take to ourselves. That might be one of these, as this time is like now diminishing. Start thinking about, what do you really want to do now, and set goals.
I think
I don't know.
Just preach the word.
I think just to add on to what Scott's saying, I feel like it's amazing to have this Zoom era because I've worked with people all over the world from my bedroom. And so, I had the pleasure of working with Jocelyn bi-weekly for at least over a year at this point, and I actually got a chance to work with her sister Valerie in Switzerland, which would never be a possibility if Zoom wasn't really a thing, or if it wasn't as socially acceptable to work with people professionally on this like forum. And so it's also incredible to dabble in new things and really get to know people, even though it's through a screen. But like, here I am making friendships internationally, whereas I may not have had that opportunity unless they maybe came into town, or just maybe a master class or something. But now it's really starting to bridge the gap and make the world kind of smaller in a sense, so that you can really work with anyone, which
Taylor, you did a whole audition, right?
Yeah, I had a virtual audition that I was supposed to it was supposed to be in person in Europe, and because of the travel ban I was unable to go. And so I had this completely virtual 2-day long audition um in Amsterdam, but also in
Yeah.
New York. So it's just so cool that we are still being offered opportunities and
Yeah.
still able to seize these moments, even though we're all at home and having to kind of power through this crazy time.
Even through
Yeah.
that, she got to meet Tyson Deaton, who played her audition. And so she got to work with a conductor. He played her audition,
Yep.
But I mean, I've known Tyson my whole adult life. And and I needed a favor, and he came through, like, and it was, he loved her, like, our friendship, you know, and so you all are just meeting all of these people and making these connections. I mean, it's a lot easier to make these connections than when I was coming through. I
Oh,
mean,
you had to be in the city and know
yeah.
someone
Or you
and
meet them at the competition,
yeah,
and then you didn't want to be too friendly because you knew you had to compete against them.
right.
What does your top sound like? Can you sing high?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what kind of money am I going home with today? Do I need to call Karen to come pick me up at the airport because I didn't make the finals? You know, so, and she would. And so it's like, I
Note to
spent all my
self.
money once in Barcelona at the Venus competition, you know, and now they can have the Venus competition right there in their living room. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, go to the kitchen, get a drink, and watch NCIS. You know, I mean,
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, especially for me as a commuter to Queens College from Long Island, taking public transit was a long time. Taking the Long Island Railroad to Jamaica, and then waiting a half hour for the bus, and then another half hour on the bus going to school. I'd easily spend 2 hours going one way. That's like 4 hours a day going back and forth between school. And now I don't have to do that. Now I wake up, like I go to class.
You can spend that 2 hours practicing
There we go. Exactly. Yeah.
because that's what you're doing with it, right?
Of course. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? I can honestly say that about him. Yes. Yes, he is. That 2 hours, like, Eric, why won't you text me back? Oh, I was practicing.
Yeah. It'd be like
Okay,
that.
I can't be mad at
That's what a teacher wants to hear.
I'm like, why didn't you text me back? I was practicing. Oh.
That's what a parent wants to hear. I was
Okay.
doing my homework.
But also, like, it also saves a lot for us as young artists with the travel to all these auditions. Like, just comparing my 2 years of grad school auditions before I met Sid compared with my audition circuit this year for post-grad schools, like, all my auditions were recordings and Zoom auditions. I didn't have to buy a flight cross country to so-and-so. I didn't have to pay for the rental car and the Uber and the Airbnb.
So let me ask you, would you have rather have introduced or auditioned in person, or was the recording and the Zoom good enough?
No, that's a great question because the not having to commute and all that is great, but also having to sing in my tiny little bedroom is awful. I would really love to sing in a real space. And for me, at least, that made a huge difference in my actual recital. There was so many spots in my repertoire where I'm in my lessons, I'm getting so frustrated. I'm like, Sid, I can't do this, but then I just go in the hall and it just comes right out. Why? Because, I don't know, there's like 50 extra square feet. Or 100-foot tall ceilings or something, and like it just makes a huge difference, that acoustic.
The mentality is also completely different. It's difficult to get yourself into the mind of, right now I am auditioning for so and so when you've got like your room in front of you. You just feel like you're dressing up for some cosplay. I didn't know how much I actually appreciated having a rehearsal space to myself at Queens College until we couldn't go there for a semester and a half because of COVID. And one of the greatest things they offered was the opportunity to set aside days where you can go. And it's been a lifesaver. It's been my anchor throughout the past 2 semesters at this university, because I know that no matter how difficult it is to have like lessons in my own bed, my childhood bedroom, I have this space where I can go. And in that little room, for however much time I need, I can pretend that everything's back to the way I'm familiar with.
And if you're in the childhood bedroom and something goes wrong, you can just go to bed.
Exactly. I really want for them to experience the travel of auditions. I mean, that not right now in the reality of not having to go places, but there's something about getting ready for an audition, and then
It's
stressful. It's stressful, but when you get to doing, for example, doing the Met chorus auditions or doing the Met auditions, or but being on that stage, there's nothing like it. I wish so much for Taylor to have been. I'm excited for her to go, but I'm so excited for her to get to be going to Amsterdam, to go to Europe, and
great, just out her, just go ahead and out her.
Oh, sorry, but it's going.
We can edit it out. We can edit it out. Don't worry.
To go and be and travel and soak up Europe, to go to Vienna Staatsopera. I actually, because I sang Fest way back when, but I had auditioned for the chorus for in Hamburg, and I walked on the stage and I was like, whoa, this is great. But it's that feeling you get when you're ready, let's go. And to interact with other singers, you can learn a lot, and have that personal relationship with your accompanist. That's the thing that I have missed about with COVID. It's
I agree wholeheartedly with you, Karen, that experience is not to be missed, and it's integral. I also, there's something to be said for sort of evening the playing field for people that can't that it's cost prohibitive to do the travel and the experience.
Absolutely. And you're sitting here with all these beautiful, rainbow of children. And it's not just rainbow of color, it's socioeconomic issues. This is a big deal. I mean, PK for me before kids, I just jump into my car. And if I'm going to audition in Washington, I remember I went to sing a competition in Eugene, Oregon. And when we're living in Northern California, and my husband and I just dropped in got in the Chevy Citation and drove to Eugene, Oregon and sang, and I did well.
What is a Chevy Citation?
I'll tell you what it is.
Never mind.
I'll tell you what it is. If anyone has ever seen Will and Grace, do you remember when Grace's uncle died and they sat in that car? It was the first episode that they introduced Beverly Leslie. and they were in that car and it started smoking. That's Grace Adler's uncle's old Chevy Citation. So when she said that, I was like, Grace Adler?
Okay, to our audience, well, if you don't know, I'll post a picture.
It's a Chevy that they, instead of putting the engine in forward, they thought they would try something and put the engine in sideways. It was a few years ago. They no longer make that car. That has been phased out of the Chevrolet brand of cars. But besides the point, you went and did it. But there is something to be said of what's going on, that these kids have been able to still go out in the world and compete. That's incredibly exciting. Yep. And I'm just so proud of.
I remember my audition years, and I remember that time was rough. It was stressful because any money that I made, and I'm so grateful to people like Kent Tritle for hiring me for the Oratorio Society when nobody else would. I was not the popular kid. And Kent Tritle always had my back. He would always hire me for Oratorio Society, and he would put me on stage at Carnegie Hall, and Marilyn Horn would put me on stage. I did the Song Continues. I'm looking at the poster right now. January 17th, 2013 at 5:30 p.m. Those were supposed to be duet recitals. Like I was supposed to sing half and somebody else was supposed to sing the other half. And so I said, Miss Horn, who's going to sing the other one? She said, no one. So what do you mean? She said, you're doing the whole thing. You're going to do your recital debut by yourself. And those two people and a couple of other roots under the tree always put me on. And I remember having that, and that shaped me as an artist to be able to get that experience and put the rubber to the road.
Now, it wasn't because they felt bad that you drove a Chevy Citation?
I never drove a Chevy Citation. I drove a Chevy Malibu, but I sold it when I moved to New York because I needed the rent money. And I'm sure my mom, who's in the chat room, is probably like, yeah, we're still paying for that car. She's in the chat right now. All she said was, hello, Sidney, but I don't want to get her started because that's a whole nother bit. And my cousin is in the room. I see my cousins. My dad is in there. So
we need to get them fired up. Okay.
We won't get them fired up
on
a Saturday
night.
All right,
the Outlaw family, tell us some deep, dark secrets.
Yeah, we'll get them fired
Can you give
up
us some conversation prompts?
Yeah, all that money they would send me because I spent on competition fees, the application fees.
Which
in
is
fact,
very costly.
It is. In fact, look, my cousin Drew is laughing. In fact, my cousin Drew, who just she's laughing her butt off. Her mom paid $250 for me in 2003 to audition for the Music Academy of the West. And I got in. And that's how I started studying with Marilyn Horne.
The rest is truly history. I mean, truly history.
That's how I got to Music Academy of the West. I called my aunt O-Ann. I called her O-Ann because when I was little, I didn't know how to say J. And so I called her O-Ann. And I said, Auntie, I need some money. And she said, hold on, baby. And so she gave me $250 for the application fee for Music Academy of the West. And that's how I met Warren. That's how I got in good with Miss Horne. And it was, you know, the roots under the tree, you know, and I really was able to put that rubber to the road. And that's also why I don't mind paying it forward.
Yes.
Because somebody did it for me, you know,
because
so I don't mind.
That's what makes a difference, you know, for somebody, especially like if it's just something like an application fee that's in your way, but then you have like an angel come and just be like, here you go. And then you get in and then you get those connections and plant those roots and everything. Like, and the only thing that was in your way was an application fee.
Yep.
You know, it really goes to show.
Yep. I know what it's like to not have, don't I, Karen? You know, I know what it's like to have people be a blessing in my life. And what's that they say? If I can help somebody along the way, then my living shall not be in vain. And my mom is the same way. My dad says that I am definitely my mother's child. My mom is the same way.
But I have to say what's exciting, Abe, I have to jump in. I think these kids are learning something that it was predestined for them to be in Sidney's studio, because he's teaching them something that not everyone does. I can say that because I'm old and I can say whatever I want. Learning how you learn music, how you break things down, how you go about learning your craft, from vocal production to the intellectual part of being a singer.
Absolutely.
That there's nothing else. There's no shortcuts there. And have you heard that before, my friends? There are no shortcuts. But now they know, because now they're doing recitals and they're doing music that is intellectually challenging, yet something that tugs on the heartstrings. He's challenging them in a social justice way, as well as you can sing. I mean, I'm going to sing spirituals because that's part of my being, but I'm going to do Schubert, and I'm going to do Schubert well. Thank you.
You know, Marilyn Horne said in a interview clip that we played today, which has never been heard, so everyone run and listen to that on YouTube, that Schubert is so easy, it's difficult. And she didn't sing her first Schubert recital until she was in her 40s, because it's so deceptively.
Yeah.
You're not kidding, because I just said to Sid, I was like, I can't do this song. He's like, yes, you can. I was like, no, you take one breath, page 1, and then it goes all the way to the end of page 2, and I can't do it. And he's like, yes, you can. I was like, okay. Because it's true. There is no, what do I say to you all the time, Sid? Mozart separates the men from the boys.
Yeah.
And that is the truth.
Mozart's
and if you
hard.
do Mozart right, because you know when it's bad, but when it's right,
still a part
it's
of that
like
learning
heaven.
process.
Now
It's
listen,
still part of that learning process.
And you know, Sid, you come from your pedigree, and you've been fortunate to study with and work with the greatest musicians that practice and preach, just what Karen was talking about.
That's why I call him Reverend Jones.
Yes,
I call him Reverend Jones.
He's amazing. Hi, Warren.
Hey, Rev.
So in closing, could we go around and just say what if there was a recital coming up or what our next plans are, and go from there in no particular order, whoever wants to go. Pablo.
I'll start.
Oh,
so
Sid.
after the end of the school year, I will pick back up. Things are starting to pick back up. I'm working with Ana de Archuleta and Sean Jeffries, and they have been a godsend. They keep me propped up. And I'm super grateful for them because the work never stopped for them. And many of my things were just moved. So as we fade out of school and everyone's graduating, I'm headed out to Cedar Rapids to do a Juneteenth celebration where I'm going to debut some new songs. They're not new songs.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa?
Yeah, they are doing a Juneteenth
Oh
gala.
my God, I'll come down.
Please. I'm going to do Robert Owen's 3 songs for baritone.
I'll take you to lunch.
Please, let's do it. Dorothy Rudmore wrote an opera, Frederick Douglass. I'm going to sing the 4th of July speech for that. And so those are 2 big pieces that I had not seen the music for. And so I've been working on that, and I'm excited about that. And I'll be on faculty this summer at Brevard Music Center. I can say that. There's some
Fabulous.
other stuff.
Congratulations.
So Warren and I are going to do a recital there.
Sid, I'm sorry, the Olive Garden's all booked that day.
Oh, great. We'll find a J&S cafeteria.
Wait a second. He must really know the Midwest.
Okay.
He knows the Midwest. He didn't say Bonanza.
Oh,
The Bonanza
we can get
Steakhouse.
in any time there. I'll throw my weight around if I have to.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's what's going on with me. And that'll be great because I'll get to go home for the first time in 3 years.
Wow.
And I'll be teaching at Brevard Music Center. Warren and I are going to do a recital on July 20th. And Brevard Music Center is in my backyard, literally. So I'll get to be with my parents and drive them crazy just long enough for them to be ready for me to come back to New York. No, my mom probably won't want me to leave. But I'm excited about.
Oh, and you're going to get some good home cooking.
Yep. Yeah. Just to be around my family. I mean,
it's so precious.
To have that energy, to not have that energy for 3 years has been really hard. So I'm super connected to my family. I'm excited to see them.
Family, if you're listening, I will still accept blackmail material.
Do not say that to Drusilla. Drusilla's going to send you a text.
Well, I'm very happy to be putting on my first recital, graduating from Queens College. I will be doing the role of Antonio in the Nozze di Figaro at Chautauqua Institution.
Oh, the gardener.
The gardener.
Dal balcone, honey. Dal balcone.
And I will be starting a master's degree at New England Conservatory next fall. So all very exciting things.
Yep. Oh, are we announcing? I guess so, because Karen already outed Taylor.
But really what I'm looking forward to as well is, Sidney giving you a big hug again when that is safe, when we can see each other again, enjoying my summer, taking a deep breath and the sun and hopefully the water of some beach and enjoy my.
He's already laid back. He's already on the beach now. Look at him. He's
I'm already
there.
on the beach.
I think that's a green screen behind him, and he's actually at one.
Oh, I'm in Ecuador.
That would be why he showed up a half hour late.
Yeah.
You are
Thank
going
you,
to
guys.
love going to school in Boston. There is so much singing going on. It's a great place to go to school as a young singer. Yeah.
Who's next?
Michael.
Oh, yeah.
I will also be giving my first solo voice recital. I've done recitals before because I have a degree in music ed as a guitar major, classical major. So I will be doing that on May 13th at 12:15, and it will be live streamed. I will be singing. I'll be participating in the Berlin Opera Academy, hopefully, if I'm able to get there this summer. And then I will be starting a master's program studying with Alan Glassman, the tenor, at Roosevelt University in Chicago.
So Michael Kramer, we're going to get together when you come to Chicago. I'm going to keep an eye out for you.
Karen,
babe.
you live in Chicago?
Well, actually, no, I live in New York. I'm here in Chicago with my mom because she had some health things. And so I'm kind of, that's why this semester has been incredible. I think that's the incredible thing about Zoom.
Well,
I was able to still do.
I'm coming to town in May. If you're still there, I'll take you to lunch.
Oh, absolutely. We will make sure. Yes, I'm coming home because I'm actually doing my recital at. I know. I love to be taken out. So let's just make that really clear. I'm videotaping my recital. I'm coming to New York tomorrow to video my recital at Riverside Church, and then I'll.
And when is that going to be broadcast on Aaron Copeland's
Actually,
page?
I'm not sure. It could be the 13th after Michael's, or it could be the 16th. But it'll
after Carlos's.
Okay, hold on a second. So are these being broadcast on
YouTube?
What's that?
Are they on YouTube?
What? I don't know. I've never heard of it.
On YouTube.
So wait a second. So my children have to tell me, guys. Now where is this? Is it on YouTube?
But via the university website.
Internet.
Yes.
Yeah, the internet. Thank you, Karen. I'm not quite that frail.
They have the Aaron Copeland School of Music YouTube page. And what they've been doing at Copeland is letting students come in by themselves and the pianist or their ensemble to do their recital in the hall with no audience.
Oh, great.
And they're live streaming it from the booth, which is all across the school somewhere. And so they have a link. So they'll all generate a link for their recital. Carlos, when is yours?
Carlos, put yours in the comments. So and Michael and everyone, so we can.
Yeah, everybody write your recital date in the with your name in the comments.
Because I want to watch all of them then bring you to Minnesota to sing.
Well, I'm doing some Florence Price songs that are absolutely to die for. Yeah. I'm so excited. So excited.
That's fabulous. Taylor,
I'm holding to you to lunch.
I'll take you wherever you want.
Okay.
On me.
You next, Taylor?
As so long as it's a bonanza.
God, you too.
Taylor.
Hi. So I'm graduating this semester, and my recital is this Thursday, May 6th at 12:15 p.m. And this fall, I will be attending the Dutch National Opera Academy in Amsterdam. So I'm super excited.
That's an amazing honor and opportunity. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm still shocked. But
and love your time in Europe. It is, I would move there in a second.
I'm ready to.
Well, next time I'm in Amsterdam, I'll take you to lunch.
Sounds
Abe, it sounds like we're going on a road trip. That's
all right.
Oh, God.
Okay, Karen. We'll fly out of O'Hare's.
Absolutely. Eric, you already did yours, but tell us about it.
And can we still watch it?
Yes. So my recital happened last Thursday, April 22nd. It was live streamed on the Aaron Copeland School of Music YouTube page. However, on my personal YouTube page, I just edited the video all together, got rid of all the spaces in between and intermission and everything. So it's just the music with timestamps in the description and everything. So you can click right to your favorite song. So I'm really, really thrilled about how my recital went. And coming up, I'm expecting to graduate with my master's degree this spring in May. So that's going to be super exciting. And although I don't have my next steps set in stone yet, I have been accepted for postgraduate studies at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, as well as MANA.
Oh, congratulations. Both would be excellent choices, I'm sure.
Thank you so much.
God, our studio audience is just rowdy tonight.
Listen, they are. You think we were like, giving away prizes? Just look under your seat.
Yeah, did anyone get a Chevy? Did anyone get a Chevy? What's it called?
Chevy Citation.
Chevy You get a Chevy citation.
We can't give those away.
Where's Oprah? Come on, we gotta bring her into the lead society.
Absolutely, we need to bring Oprah into the lead society and have her pay all of our student loans and
come on,
everything.
And give me an operating budget. Look at the studio, my God.
Come on.
the whole thing, please and thank you. Scott, what about you? You got another year left, right?
Yeah, I got another semester or two left. I've been in college for too long.
No, well, look, I want you to just know that that's okay.
Thank you for saying that to him.
Because yes. I'll say no more.
I say my body and soul were, we went through 4 years of Pratt Institute, and I almost lost all my hair. But
lovely hair.
it was terrible. But I loved it. It was so terrible that I loved it because it taught me a lot about life. But anyway, I'm working on some recordings, some Spanish songs, some French stuff. I like the French rap. It's just so cool.
Like French, like Debussy, or French like Poulenc, or Taillefer, or.
He's super romantic. He sings everything like Franco Corelli.
I can't wait to hear it.
Like it's beast out of the wild. Yeah.
Either him or Carlo Bergonzi. I'm like, listen, Carlo Bergonzi, it's 11:30 in the morning. Like
I did a program, and I was warming up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we were in the dorms. And then the director of the program, she's like, if you sing again, she's like, looks at you like this. If you sing again at 9 o'clock in the morning and you warm up, you're out. So I was like, okay, sorry. So it's better to wake up at 2 in the afternoon and then do everything later. But
I always remind Scott and I, we don't have arguments, we have debates. And Scott's lesson had to be at 11 o'clock this semester because Scott did not want to send a text or email back as everyone else was setting their lesson time for the semester. So Scott, you have to keep your lesson at 11 o'clock. You know I was going to tell this, didn't you?
Scott, I hope you learned a lesson.
Well, no, it was a teachable moment. I remember the first week of school at Juilliard, I was in the master's program, and Betsy Becker scheduled me for a coaching with the Nico Castell.
Oh.
But it was at 10 o'clock in the morning.
And you're like, no.
What am I going to sing? What am I going to do? It's Nico Castell. Should I bring all of these books
Rest in
here
peace.
for him to sign? So I got in there, and I immediately was apologizing because it was 10 o'clock. We were in room 305. They remodeled it now. It don't look the same. But I walked in. He was sitting there, and he said, Outlaw, are you Outlaw? I said, yes, sir. And I said, and I have to apologize to you. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not really warmed up. I don't sing really well this time of morning, so I apologize in advance. And he said, let me ask you a question. He said, do you ever want to have a career? I said, yeah. He said, would you ever consider singing across the street if they asked you? And I said, oh my God, yeah, that's my dream. Yes, I want to sing over there. And he was like, understand this. The Metropolitan Opera starts rehearsals for the dress rehearsal at 10:30 in the morning. And I mean, they start at 10:30. You're in the wings and you're waiting to go on. So Outlaw, if you want to be able to be a Metropolitan Opera singer, you will find a way to make this happen for you that works for you so that you don't have to come in and say, and when he said that to me, even to this very day, today, I was ready to sing at least by 10:45. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get work done. I'm ready to sing. I'm in good voice. And so Scott and I had that chat. I've had that chat with Eric, but Eric is up. He's a morning person. So he's up and he's floating in the air. If he's not, he pretends to be. But
singers are like actually athletes. I'm not just a singer because I'm a visual artist.
Absolutely.
So I am a little bit weird where it comes down to like when I talk to singers, it's like, well, yes, I wake up at 4 in the morning and then I go and, swim 5 miles. But then
like, you would be warmed up.
Then you
talk to painters and they're like, yeah, I woke up at like 3, man. Yeah.
What's the beautiful thing about being a pianist is it's just like, what time you want me there?
Yes.
Look, in German opera houses, you start rehearsal at 10 o'clock.
Oh, yes.
Then you have a lunch break. Then you come back. Then you have another break, and then you have to be at the theater. Rehearsal starts even. You can have no more than a 12-hour break. So they're trying to get you. If you have a long piece like Figaro, they're trying to get you off the stage on time. Because otherwise, if there is not at least 12 hours in between, suppose that throws off the rehearsal schedule. That's what the opera house. So you are up, you are ready to go.
Yeah.
At rehearsal at 10 o'clock because you've gotten there at 9:30.
Yeah.
And so you've changed your shoes, you've done all you have to do. You're ready to sing rehearsal at 10 o'clock in German opera houses.
For me, Abe, that's been part of it. Being a mentor in that capacity is that it's not enough for me to just show someone how to sing Tosti or Burley or like I want them to not have any surprises whenever Taylor gets to Amsterdam or whenever Michael gets to Chicago. I want them to at least be familiar with the concept.
That you could potentially hit the ground running.
Yeah.
If you just remember everything that Sid told you all these years.
Yeah. So I'm super proud of everyone. Everyone got into all the schools that they wanted to. That's what I want. I wanted one good thing to happen for them this year during all of this. Just one. And so that happened, and I thank God for it, and I'm super proud of them.
And Pablo, last but not least.
I am Pablo Giraldo. Although I did not say it earlier, I am a bass baritone, and I have had the honor to perform my very first recital at the youngish age of 21, because I feel pretty young. Every part of it was a learning experience, and I literally could not have done it without the support of my accompanist, my teacher, and my coach. It's because they instilled in me the work ethic and reminded me of the reality that if I was not prepared in time, I would not be prepared in time.
That's sound advice.
It was a marathon. It was exhausting, and it has instilled in me a desire to see just how far I can go as a performer and as a singer. I am not sure what steps I will take, but I can most certainly confirm that I will go forward to see as far as I can go. Thank you for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure.
It has been an absolute pleasure having all of you, and you're all welcome back anytime. And I cannot wait to hear all of your respective performances. And you're all
Eric
welcome.
put his in the chat.
Oh, good.
Yeah, his link is up in the chat, and Pablo did too.
I'm going to listen to them because I'm always looking for talent to bring to the Twin Cities and join us when we can do that again.
Well, I'm fully vaccinated as of 2 days ago, so hit me up.
All right. I'll meet you.
I still gotta wait a little bit. I got some time, but you know.
Okay, he got 14 days, and he'll be at LaGuardia.
There we go.
Okay, you're hired. Everyone, know this is the time in the show where we get really serious and we give shout outs to whoever we like. So I'm going to play our theme music, and in no particular order, go ahead and give shout outs and thank and do whatever you would like, starting now.
Okay, I'm gonna give a shout out to Dr. Forbes because he always teaches me how to be patient. I'm gonna give that shout out to my mom and my dad because they always let me call and complain. I'm gonna give a shout out to my new chiropractor who I saw because she helped me fix my back. Wait a minute, is it just me?
No, everyone.
No, I'm giving a shout out too. I'm giving a shout out to Sid.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go too.
Okay, y'all give you a shout out.
And my mom. My mom always never ever said to me, maybe you should do music ed. She was like, go out there and kick some butt. And she doesn't ever say things like that, but she said it.
Sid, I want your chiropractic number because I'm in dire.
Absolutely, she's fabulous.
Okay, come on, Pablo, hit it.
I would like to give a shout out to my coach, Dr. Jocelyn Dueck, for pretty much teaching me the entirety of my foray set. I would like to give a shout out to my accompanist, Dr. Xingyi Huang, for ensuring that I was singing the right notes at the right time and just being there for me. Of course,
a savior.
Of course, an absolute my master, an amazing pianist. I would like to give a shout out to my teacher, Professor Sidney Outlaw, who, for lack of a better term, taught me how to sing from the ground up. And thank you all for staying this long. I'm gonna mute myself now.
I got a shout out to my girlfriend Gianna because she puts up with my BS.
Oh, Gianna, you're a saint,
You're
Gianna.
My mom and dad, they I don't know, they're like alien parents because they're like Karen's parents because they never said, gotta go do something else, go be an accountant, you know.
Aaron, mute the screen.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone, and thank you Professor Maestro Outlaw. Woo! He's fantastic. He's awesome.
Eric.
This is like an awards acceptance speech or something. Well, I would like to thank my lovely teacher, Sidney Outlaw, for accepting me into this school and loving me every step of the way, even when I'm texting him at 11 o'clock at night, like, you got me, you know. I'd love to thank my coaches, especially Jocelyn Dewick, Reed Woodhouse, Donna Gill, and all my mentors at Queens College for helping me along the way the past 2 years, you know. I couldn't have made the progress that I made without all of you. And I'd love to thank all of my closest friends for unconditionally loving me, supporting me, and encouraging me to follow my wildest dreams.
Taylor.
Okay, I'd like to give a shout out to my family for supporting me with all my endeavors. I'd like to give a shout out to Professor Outlaw, a shout out to Jocelyn Dewick, to Tyson Deaton, to Mark Markham, a shout out to just everyone who has helped me get to where I am today.
Michael.
I would like to give a shout out to a guy named Kevin, who I don't know his last name, but he lived across the hall from me when I lived in a small apartment in Queens, and the lady below me was complaining that I was practicing every day and she was causing a big stink, and he came across the hall and knocked on my door and told me that my singing every day was the highlight of his day and that it was beautiful and it reminded him of going to the Met, and he never wanted me to stop, and he didn't want to come out and say anything to the mean lady because he didn't.
That's precious.
But I love you, Kevin. You'll probably never see this, but shout out to you. Shout out to obviously Jocelyn Dewick, obviously to Sidney Outlaw, and to my girlfriend April Valbuena because she puts my.
Thank you, April and Gianna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carlos.
Oh dear, I want to give a shout out to all my friends, to you, Sidney, Abe, to my family, to all my people in Ecuador. I want to give a shout out to just God for being so beautiful to me. And also I want to give a shout out to myself because I've just kept on going. So shout out for Carlos.
Hell yeah. And last but not least, Karen. We saved a lot of time for you at the end.
I actually have to give a shout out to. Thank you. You're so cute. We're just going out and we're gonna have a great time, and then we're going to Europe. I really want to give a shout out to God. I'm blessed, and I'm blessed to be a blessing. I have to give a shout out. I told you my mom, my family, my kids have put up with a lot of singing, and gone to many concerts. And all my coaches, Warren George Wilson, who actually was Shirley Verrett's accompanist and my mentor, and my friend Makia McDonald, who, when I said I wanted to do this, she's like, don't borrow money from the government, borrow money from me.
Is she talking about when you agreed to do the round table?
No, when I agreed to come to Queens College. So I can't wait to tell her about the round table. And it's like when you have friends and sisters, and Sidney is mine. Sidney is mine. He is my family. He is my son, my brother, my friend, and he has changed my voice and gave me back something that was missing, and now I can go forth in the world. So I'm blessed by all these kids, but especially my mom and Sid. So
We are
Yay.
so lucky to have the House of Outlaw.
Yes,
House of
indeed.
Outlaw.
I love that hashtag. I'm totally going to take that.
Please, yes, you heard it here, folks. House of Outlaw. Sidney, thank you for bringing all of your fabulous students with you. And I look forward to watching each one of your careers. And perhaps someday we will meet. Karen, we'll see you at the Bonanza.
Thank you for giving us this platform. This has been great for me to bring them along with me in this type of a setting. So I thank you for that.
It is my pleasure, and we thank you all and wish you all the best of luck. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.